Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a new horror icon who has absolutely terrified audiences all over the world. What's so interesting is that he doesn't speak, and he doesn't really have supernatural powers, but his presence on screen has caused this incredibly intense reaction that we haven't seen in a long time. And it all kicks off with this number: $250,000. Believe it or not, that was the tiny budget for a movie that, back in October 2022, started causing literal panic in theaters. We're not talking about a big studio blockbuster here, no major stars. This was just a raw, independent film that somehow hit a nerve in a way nobody saw coming.
And when I say panic, I mean it. News reports started popping up everywhere about these really bizarre events. People weren't just getting scared, they were having these intense physical reactions, fainting, throwing up. It stopped being just a movie and turned into something else, almost like a dare. Could you make it through the whole thing without passing out?
So this really brings us to the big question, right? In an age of CGI monsters and really complex horror stories, how did Art the Clown, this silent black and white character, become so uniquely terrifying? Okay, let's get into it.
To really understand the whole phenomenon, we have to understand the monster himself. And trust me, he didn't just pop up out of thin air. His creation was actually a pretty slow, deliberate process that started way before he became this international sensation.
See, Art wasn't an overnight success. Not at all. This was a slow burn. It all started back in 2008 when the director, Damien Leone, basically threw everything at the wall in a short film. Demons, witches, the whole 9 yards, just to see what would stick with the audience. And unexpectedly, it was the clown that people just couldn't shake. So he brought him back in 2013, and then 2016 happened. That's when Terrifier came out, made for an almost unbelievable $35,000, and built its entire reputation on pure word-of-mouth terror.
Now, what's really fascinating here is that Art is basically the anti-Pennywise. You know, Stephen King's monster is colorful, he's talkative, he uses all this supernatural power. Art is the complete opposite. He's just stark, black and white, totally silent. His brand of horror comes from this raw, physical brutality, not from shape-shifting or magic tricks. He'll use whatever is lying around, a hammer, a hacksaw, which makes the violence feel disturbingly real.
And the person who brought this silent terror to life is an actor named David Howard Thornton. And here's the wild part. Thornton has extensive training as a mime. He used that skill to convey this whole range of emotion, from playful to pure menace, all without saying a single word. His agents actually told him not to take such a low-budget role, but he saw the potential. And through his body language alone, he created a character whose silent taunts are way more frightening than any monster's roar.
And this brings us to his name, which is a huge clue. One of the big theories is that Art isn't short for Arthur, it's a statement. For him, murder is literally a creative act. The victim is his canvas, the crime scene is his masterpiece. He's a performer, and we're his horrified audience. And you know, this idea of a performer hiding something monstrous, well, that's built on some very real-world fears.
Yeah, the fear of evil clowns isn't just some movie trope. You could actually argue that Art the Clown works so well because he taps into this vein of terror that's been running through our culture for decades, and it's rooted in some chilling, real-life history.
We have to go back to the 1970s. In Chicago, there was a man who basically embodied this terror long before art was ever imagined. His name was John Wayne Gacy. And to the public, he was this friendly, entertaining guy. But behind the makeup, he was one of the most brutal serial killers in American history.
Gacy was living this terrifying double life. On the one hand, he was Pogo the Clown, performing at kids' hospitals and community events. He was a respected local businessman, even got involved in politics. But that was all a mask. In secret, he murdered at least 33 young men and boys, and buried most of them right in the crawlspace under his own house. Gacy proved that the most horrifying monsters could be hiding behind the friendliest smile.
And that deep-seated fear just exploded again in 2016. It all started with this one single creepy photo of a clown in an empty parking lot. The image went viral and it ignited a worldwide panic. All of a sudden, reports were flooding in from everywhere. Clowns trying to lure kids into the woods, clowns chasing school buses. Within months, the whole thing went global, and you couldn't tell what was a prank, what was marketing, and what was a genuine threat.
I mean, it got so intense that professional clowns, you know, people who do this for a living to entertain kids, they had to come out and publicly distance themselves. The World Clown Association actually put out a statement basically pleading with the public, saying, hey, we're the good clowns, don't lump us in with these creepy people. Even McDonald's had to sideline Ronald McDonald for a while just to avoid the association.
So why? Why does this one archetype have such a powerful hold on us? The real-life stories show us that we're scared, but they don't really explain why. Well, the answer isn't just about the external threat. It's about our own psychology, how our brains are wired to process what we see.
There's this concept called the uncanny valley, and it's actually a pretty simple idea. We're totally comfortable with things that are clearly not human, right? Like a teddy bear. And we're comfortable with things that are clearly human. But that weird space in the middle, where something looks almost human, but something is just off, that's when our brains trigger this powerful feeling of unease, even disgust.
And a clown is the perfect resident of the uncanny valley. I mean, think about it. It has a human shape, but its features, the painted-on smile, the giant eyes, the red nose, they're all distorted. That painted face is a permanent mask that hides what the person is really feeling. So your brain sees a smile, but it can't read the eyes or the real intention behind it. It gets all these conflicting signals, and it can't process them, so it just defaults to one simple command: threat.
Okay, so let's tie all of this together. We have the slow burn creation of this truly unique movie monster, we have the chilling echoes of real-world killers, and we've got this deep-seated psychological trigger. So what does Art the Clown really represent for us right now?
He's way more than just a character in a gory movie. He takes the real-world horror of a killer like John Wayne Gacy, the monster hiding in plain sight, and combines it with that deep psychological trigger of the uncanny valley. He represents that ancient anxiety we all have that the person smiling at you might not be friendly at all. He is the ultimate predator hiding behind the mask of a performer.
In the end, Art is more than just a movie monster. He kind of holds up a mirror to a fundamental anxiety we all have about appearances versus reality. And he leaves us with this final, really unsettling thought. We're always taught to be afraid of the shadows, but maybe the real monsters are the ones standing right there in the light, smiling right at us. Thanks for joining this explainer.